Hello everyone and welcome back to another Division 2 video. Today we do another playing our division video, and for this week I have selected Blindata Romania Mare, the one Romanian tank division. And it's an interesting one. It's definitely one that I have underestimated until Moobrook showed me that this division has, there's something going for it. It has some strengths. But it's still, we're working our way up, and if you see the number of this video, you can see that we're still towards the lower tiers, and there's a good reason for that. So this division, talking about my thoughts on it, it is definitely an upgrade from a just plain standard Panzer IV division or Panzer IV slash Stück division, but it's not a massive upgrade, unfortunately. It has some nice mechanized elements to help it out, but it has some serious weaknesses which we're going to cover now. So one, I think, of the bigger issues that this division has is it has a little bit of everything for every range, I would argue. It's just that it doesn't do any of them really super good. And I think that's kind of the big problem that this division has. So you have some nice, you can see, just don't have a lot of it, which is all right. It is a tank division after all. You don't need to be very good at CQC. And for those kind of maps, you also have the 20 mils, which are also quite useful. Now, for the mid-range, here's where the problem, I think, really starts, in town maps and such. Again, your armor that you have is not too bad. You have some 20 mils. The Stücks and the Panzer IVs are both useful, especially at the current price. This division did heavily benefit from the Panzer IV buff, but there's no question there. But neither of those, neither of those is a great infantry support, and in combination with 20 mils, it kind of works. But yeah, there's that. And you don't have anything that is like super, super tanky, which is the next kind of issue that this division has. But still, it is manageable. But the problem kind of starts to come when you fight in town maps, for example, or just general mid-range maps. When you start finding those efficient tanks like a Panzer III that nicely will upgrade to your Panzer IV, or a Valentine, those kind of tanks, there's more than that. It's like some of the support tanks are also quite dangerous, by the way. This is where having something like a Marder, which you do have to attack them with T60, just only have 4 of those, or 3 if you double vet them. So it's not a whole lot, which is kind of the issue. Those kind of units start becoming very, very valuable. Or alternatively, mid-sized AT guns, which this division doesn't have. So this is where a tank division can actually struggle, in my opinion, versus some of the armor that you might encounter. And this is where things start to become somewhat dangerous, but it's still, you have the infantry support. Your tanks will kill tanks. There's no doubt in that, and the Stück can tank things up close as well. So you have some tools. You also have some nice auto mechanized things, like the 75mm support half track that you get with some units as transports, and so adding that to the mix makes it okay. It just doesn't make it very good. Like most other divisions that are good for this kind of range, or most divisions that are good for this kind of ranges, have more than just that. And this is where it kind of starts falling short. And then for the range, of course, you basically only have the Rashica, which is a nice unit, but it's not gonna carry you for 2k maps. And I think this is where this division really kind of falls into a weird spot where it just lacks a real raw power in one area, and it's a bit mediocre in most of them. Yeah. And, something heavy that can really block out your opponent would be quite beneficial, or some more aggressive, efficient tools. I think out of those would make this division better, because in one case, you could just, be a little bit more static, tank things, block out areas. In the other, you can just be a bit more rushy, a bit more aggressive. At the moment, it doesn't have the tools for either of those in sufficiently large numbers. I think that's the biggest issue that it has. It has some nice other tools, though, like you have some nice planes. It's not a whole lot of nice planes you get, but there's some. You have a decent AA tab. You have some nice artillery that is nice there. The units that you get in the AT tab are quite nice as well, by the way. And you have some cool support options as well, as we're going to see. So, in terms of fun and flavor, I think this division has things to offer. It's just that for overall strengths, it lacks to have its real niche. And based on the units that it has, it's really more mid-range. But there it just kind of lacks the tools for efficiency that most other divisions have that are good in those kind of ranges. So let's start with the building recons. I would just bring the regular recon. This thing is not really worth it, in my opinion. you know, 25 points for this, and this is not a fighting unit. There's just no point in paying the up price. Now, one notable thing here is this unit, and you shouldn't take this. It's kind of similar to the Famo in DFL. Fargo, I think it's the name, sorry. But that one is fast and has more pen, so it will actually, you know, it can actually transport snipe or get a lucky shot on a light armor piece. This one can do neither of those because it's too slow for that, and the pen is not that great. That's a big issue. Otherwise, you know, if this was super fast, I think for transport sniping at the start, it could be useful, but it really isn't. Horse, it is a 20mm support vehicle. You're going to need it. This thing, you could definitely take in A phase for more power, but I almost feel like you need a little bit more of infantry support in B phase as well, which is why I take it there. But it would probably not be wrong to take in A phase, just have a bit more strong push potential earlier on, which is not that bad. So, Recon Panzer 3 is always a good thing to have, or right, Panzer 4, but Recon tanks in general are always a good thing to have. So we're going to take that in A phase. Now, infantry tab. Here's where it's going to get interesting. We don't have that many options here, really. If you want to have more Pioneer, that would be an option. But, you know, they have the regular German Pioneer or Axis Pioneer availability. They also got the price buff, though, which is nice. But ultimately, it's just not that good of a unit for hybridness with the availability, so I wouldn't take those. But in AFS, we're going to take it. By the way, I do build it Maverick because I think this is the best way of going with this. Vanguard is, in my opinion, also an option. It's just, in my opinion, with the limited infantry tab and some other limitations, especially when it comes to medium AT and things like that, I wouldn't go balanced with it. It's probably manageable, but it's probably not a good pick, because some of the strong tools you have will run out by the end of B phase, and after that it's really a very, very standard Panzer IV division with actually some things missing. So it's going to be worse than just the plain standard Panzer IV division, which already is not in a very good spot at the moment. So that's that. We take one card of Panzerfaust units in A and B phase each, so that we have enough to go around if we have to deal with some light armor and whatnot. And then here, yeah, we take one Panzer in A phase, one in B phase. We definitely need some strong infantry in A phase, but we also want to have some in our strong income phase, which is why I take this in B phase. In A phase, I take this with the half track because I think it's a nice addition. It just makes it so that we can play this a little bit more mechanized. I think it fits nicely into the mix, and also can bait for some of our tanks. So in the Ski-Jäger videos, a lot of people pointed out that I should maybe start using those half-tracks in that specific division, but it can inspire me to try it elsewhere as well, because I think I very often overlook this, and it has its uses, for sure. So this is basically how this happens, and then in C phase, we just take these guys. Again, we want to have strong infantry in A and B phase for sure, and then to hold this is good enough. And obviously it's also cheaper, so that is very useful. This is also very useful to have in A phase, which is why I wouldn't take both of those in A phase, because it means that, first of all, we have stronger infantry when we actually push, but also we have something cheaper in A phase, which means we can bring more units, and this is always beneficial in A phase when there's not that many units on the field yet. Now, leader, we take this one with the support half track, the Geräuschtunnel. This thing is super good, very efficient, it's super nice for 25 points. There's basically... It's a tough choice between that one and this leader, because this one has radio, which is nice to have. This one, well, that's the same one. Sorry, this one is not worth it because you can only bring it with this, and there's no point in having that. B phase, we take the flame. I always take my grenade throw. If I have to take a grenade throw, I always take it in A phase, because then I still have the micro capacity to manually ground attack with the TNT. Later on, I will not have that. So there's that. Tank tab, I try to have a Stück 4 and a Stück 3 and a Panzer 4 in every phase, because then we have one tank that is, you know, cheap and efficient, but also has a turret, which is sometimes very useful. And then we have one that is a little bit tankier, so in places where those 9 units of armor are really going to be needed, we can use the Stück. Except for C phase, we just go with a cheap tank to hold on there. Now, why do I not take more of the Romanian ones? We have to take one of them for sure, and then the leaders are not quite the same. It has to do with the heat shell. 100mm of pen, 8 damage, 35 accuracy base. You get more, of course, with the vet, but that goes for the other shells as well. And, of course, the same rate of fire. So this means that it has shorter range than this one. It has lower accuracy and it has lower pen. Now, it is a heat shell. So this, you know, as you know, has a penetration drop-off. However, at 1500 meter range, it's basically the same. And after that, obviously, the AP shell is going to be higher. So in other words, there's just no range everywhere you want to use the heat shell because it has lower accuracy even at the range where both of them are identical, and it doesn't do more damage or anything like that. Meaning you would manually want to turn it off, and this is just super annoying. You don't want to do this, so better to just not bring the tank at all. Availability is the same. So there's just no point in ever taking this. In B phase we have to, in C phase, so this is where I take it. Support tab, you could take 2 flames, I just can't fit them in. IG-18, useful gun, so we want to take that. Some machine guns to secure things off. And then I don't take this in the support tab, I take it with the artillery. And I don't take another flame because I want to have more machine guns. This is in general useful, but here, you know, I would be willing to sacrifice that. But here, we can bring more of these guys, so you have more light armor around in B phase, and they're really good for infantry support, and they can deal with light armor just fine. They can actually one-shot something like a Steward if they can pen it. So this thing is really good for 15 points, and again, I like to have some machine guns in B phase anyway. So, you know, there's really no point not taking this in my opinion. And then a Stu 42, I think, is logical. It is our 2 kg, which is nice to have, and sometimes quite useful. And obviously you can use it up close as well if you're desperate. With the heat shell, it is quite dangerous. You can one-tap tanks, so sometimes this can actually be useful. A T-tab is where it's going to get tricky. So the Rosita we do want to take, in my opinion, for the range, for quick play, because we might need it. And it is a very nice unit. We can also use it for indirect fire support sometimes if we have it out anyway and feel like we need some artillery. Then we have these two, and here the choice is difficult. So if I don't take this, which I don't, then I'm very tempted to take this because it is fast, so we can use it in deployment a little bit better if we feel like we need to because of the matchup or map. This thing is so much better though because it actually survives for longer and it can really defend itself up close as well. And usually with your Panzerschreck, you are in ranges where infantry, if it walks into, it's usually going to be at CQC distance, so this is actually quite useful. We also have the TACAM T60, which is really good. It has an F22 and, you know, decent rate of fire. So we could triple that. I just like 4 of them because it's the only efficient unit we have in this deck. But this is basically a must-take. Again, it's one of the only efficient tank and / AT tools that we do have. So I would 100% take it. You know, ignoring the 75mm, which obviously is very efficient, but it's not the same category than this. This is fighting medium tanks. There's only 5mm support, half-track not. I have a hard time not taking this because honestly, against light armor, this division has its issues because again, this thing can do it, but it's slow, and we need to take it with other units. So it is usually where these units are. These guys can fight light armor. However, if it is something with an actual gun, if it's like 7 rounds a minute like the Stewards, it can fight it if the thing is very close. Otherwise, it will lose. At range, it will lose. And if, you know, against anything that is faster fighting, like the BA-10, for example, it will lose because the BA-10 fires fast enough. So this is a bit of an issue of these 20mm. So light armor can be an issue, which is, I think, why taking a 47mm would also be worth it, generally speaking. A-tab, we have a nice thing here with a double vet Hotchkiss, which still 20mm, which 25mm, sorry, which still has free avail. We take it with this thing. It just means a little bit more extra suppression, which does make a difference. On top of that, it can bait your opponent if he tries to RT it, and if you have those a little bit apart from each other. The other can sometimes go after this because the opponent doesn't realize that this is the actual AA piece. As you guys said, 7-1 is good. We take it. It has to come in A phase, but with this, I feel comfortable with double vetting this. This is, you know, it's basically a Flak 36. This is essentially an SKF set 7.2, but it didn't get the price reduction. I think this was just forgotten. And unfortunately, this didn't get the nice wet curve on purpose, by the way. So this thing kind of sucks at single vet. But you get 4, which in a lot of AA tabs would be a must. However, we have enough here in A phase already that I feel comfortable taking this at double vet, which is going to make it a lot better. And these, of course, 20mm, we don't want to take them. Turns out we have some nice options here as well, but really the only thing that are good is, of course, the half-track mortar, this thing, and I think this one is quite good as well. 5 rounds a minute for a 150mm is actually not that bad. I think the accuracy is decent enough. This is always something you have to ignore. You have to, you know, test it in game and see how it does. So that's that. I think this is pretty good as well, which is why I take it here. I take it with the ammo because we don't have any in the support tab. And the only other thing here that I would consider is this for infantry support, but I think having a, if you have a radio mortar, is always better than 60mm. And this thing, playing off maps can be good. However, not if they're coming B-phase, but then there's usually enough AA, and it's just not worth it. Now, the air tab, you have a few options here available to you, and you have to decide for yourself how you want to build it up. So let's start with the fighters. You have basically 3 options, which is the BF-1010, you have the BF-109E3, and the BF-109G6A. Now, neither of those is very good. Let's be upfront with that. Now, which of those you want to take depends a little bit on you. I would argue that all of them have their strengths and weaknesses. This thing is really more for strafing. It's quite cheap, and you get 4 of them. However, the loadout is really not that good. This is more an experimental thing. I want to try how well they actually do at just strafing and overwhelming your opponent, and his AA more specifically. This thing, so it is actually quite, you know, it's quite nimble. Like, this thing is super maneuverable. And the loadout is not too bad. However, very bad resilience means this thing sees as much as a 20mm bullet and will fall out of the skies. So this thing is just horrible. It dies so fast, but it is very maneuverable. If you actually can micro properly and there's no AA around, this thing can get way more work done than you would think for only 60 points. Like, do not underestimate this. The problem is it is not a good chaser. It's too slow. And again, if you're not very careful with it, it dies. Even frontal passes which this plane would survive, depending on what, you know, a matchup that this plane survives if they head on each other, this thing will most likely not survive. So you have to be extremely careful with it, and micro perfectly fine well. So yeah, if you think you can do that and you think it's worth having the 60-point fighter, then you take it, otherwise not. If you really want a proper fighter, this one is the only option. The loadout sucks, it has bad resilience, but speed is okay, and the loadout is still good enough to kill things most of the times. So if you're desperate for a fighter, just take this. Basically, this is what it is. Other than that, bombers, you have the Ju-87, which is decent. Then we have the IARs, which just suck. They are too slow. The bomb loadout is good, but they're slow and have bad resilience. If it has this bomb loadout, this gun loadout, and medium resilience, it would be a decent plane. Like, not super good, but usable. Like, you can make use of that, but this way you just can't. Do not take this. It is bad. And then these guys, if you like heavy bombers, they are a serious option. They have very good resilience. The speed is not awful, and they have good loadout. Personally, I just prefer my heavy bombers to be a bit faster. I like them when they're like 400 kilometers an hour and above. So, you know, it's getting close, but I like them a tad bit faster. So I personally don't take them, but it's not a bad option. Then the cluster plane. So whenever you're into efficient tanks in mid-range, this is a serious option, because otherwise you might get outrated quite quickly. So I personally like to have them in the deck still, but you can definitely go another option as well. Well, by the way, one thing that I forgot to mention is the artillery leader spotter. I like it because then I get some more radio for these guys and also more recon on top of it, but it's not a must-take in my opinion. So you could change it out if you want to. So here we are. This is not an actual quick play game. I had to ask in the Discord if someone wanted to play, and I had I can't read this, but his Discord name is Pond, so I'm just going to call him like that. Pond volunteered. Thank you very much, Pond, in case you're watching. Also, thank you if you're not watching. And he just decided to play CL on Harrow. And here we are. So he didn't know the division again. I tried to do it that way for most of the playing every division games, that my opponent doesn't know what I'm playing, just to keep, you know, it a bit more authentic, at least stay close to the quick play experience. So this is a map that, you know, I think it's probably as good as any for this division. Really, it has some things that are strong for it because it's mid-range most of the part the map. It has some issues because it's mid-range. Again, like a lot of maps, I think the long-range maps are probably the worst for this division since you don't have that much 2K. But other than that, Cell is maybe as bad, but other than that, I think they're all kind of similar-ish. Some of them are a little bit better for Blindata, some of them are a bit worse. All right, we're not going to start with this right away since since it's volunteer. I don't want to, you know, be this cancerous to him, because if it works, it is incredibly annoying to play against. CL is a division that is super easy to airspam. So if this was the queue, I would probably do this shamelessly. Since I know that it isn't the queue and he volunteered, I'm not going to do that right away. Maybe towards the end, just as a proof of concept that we see how it works. But also, he said that, you know, the way he made it sound, I think there's probably a little bit of skill difference there, so we want to have this to be too fast, since you guys want to have some entertainment as well. There could be some stack guns rushing, so this is where our light AT guns, if we would have taken them, would be quite useful. Also, there's some stewards, but there's only one card as far as I know. Now, the question is, there's some other light armor that is quite annoying they can bring. If they bring that, that's going to be a little bit tricky. Most of his units are relatively slow though, so we might be able to get into good positions with infantry fast. Yes, fast flamers though, so it's not like we're going to have a massive advantage. I think we're going to contest that over there. Although, you know what, we can start with a little bit of a... And there's an actual good reason why we might want to do that. But I'm going to give him the advantage of not having... of taking this flag for free. That it's, you know, a little bit more fair. But also, because realistically against CAL, against a good player, you don't want to fight over this. You want to conserve, or at least not right away. You want to, you know, shell it with artillery or bomb it or anything like that. But it can, like, CL has more and better CQC. So it's inevitable. You either take this fast at the start, or you work your way in via shelling and air spamming. You don't want to fight over this for a prolonged period of time. So maybe it's better to not contest this actively at the start, because then it could pose some issues. This is an area where against Shermans it's going to be tricky to push, and some of the infantry is quite good at that range. However, we have some good tools for that, and again, his infantry is not as dominant there, since it's not Americans. Most of them do not have Piats. So I think there's a reasonable chance of us actually being able to take that. But I think we're just going to start at the town. This is kind of the classic way of doing it. We're going to get 2 flamers in, just to kind of probe it a little bit and see if he reacts to it. And if so, what he does. But we're not going to go in very heavily over there. So we're just going to bring some actual infantry in here. And maybe... I don't want to have not as... This is now a bit of a problem. Can you do me a favor after the match? You help me go what I can improve based on that. Yeah, sure. I can do that, of course. Alright. Let's continue. Let's get recon in. I'm actually... So, let's see... about the radio range. There's a lot of things we can get into radio range, so we should 100% do that. That is always a nice position for recon anyway. But if you get radio in here, it's actually even more valuable because look at how much we get in. We get this in radio range, which if... Okay, we actually get we have radio over here. But let's say we have the mortar half-track and no recon in here with radio. It's going to be like back there, so this would not be within radio range. And this is where people tend to put things if they want to keep it safe. So that's a very useful thing to have. It doesn't really expand over here. A little bit into there. So if you have, you know, 17 pounder in here, it could be useful. But other than that, not all that much. Still, it's a nice thing to have. Over here, I do not want to use the radio unit for that. It's not really worth it. I'm just going to take the regular recon, which is better at spotting anyway, since it has a single vet. Remember, guys, it doesn't tell you this, but... having single vet is actually useful for recon. Now, I put the this thing right here, the IH-18, because they can also potentially stop the... what's it called? The Staghound, if that decides to rush. This should be my main concern. These do not square off well against the Staghound at range. The closer we get, the easier it's going to get, because they can actually pen the Staghound. Or at least, you know, stress it out and then kill it off later on. But yeah, so... back to the business at hand. What I'm a little bit worried about is not having an AT here and him rushing through with a Staghound. So we should probably... This is where... Okay, maybe we really need to take the light AT. I do not like this a bit. Even against a division like that, I already feel pretty very naked here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing. We're going to put it, like, I don't know, here. Where it could kill off a Staghound if it tried to push through. Or at least, you know, it's on the way there. Now, as for the town, we're going to try to get... I'm not going to use one of my precious radio units, because, again, they're more for radio and this is like the prime spot for radio recon. But since it's a bit exposed at the start, I'm not going to bring it in right away. I'm going to bring regular recon. It's likely to die at some point, then I'm going to bring in the radio one. We're going to have this here and the half track, and this is probably less likely to die anyway. This is how we're going to do it. Now, for the town. He has a lot of potential for light AT, so we have to be very careful about that. And he can airspam us, so it's definitely makes sense to focus our AA in one area. And they're going to do something which I don't do very often, which is bring AA early on, because again, against this division, I think it's going to be quite useful. We're going to bring it like in here. It's risky. Here's maybe nah. I'm going to bring it back here. We're going to bring it back here. Just a safe spot, and then we're going to drive this over here so that we don't have the two next to each other, because it's the easiest way of losing your AA. Sorry, of, you know, kind of making this advantage of having the two units not being an advantage anymore. Now, as for the town, we are going to rush in here. We're going to use the little bit of a speed advantage that our infantry has and try to get in there first. We're also going to make sure that we have something in here, just in case it tries to rush through. This is always a danger. And then I like to send something in here, because that gives us a little bit of wiggle room here at the start. We try this. Might not work. It might work. Good. That's that done. Do we need something here at the start? Not really. If, you know, we can still put something in here if he actually gets that flag. But I used to put something here every time to prevent losing the flag, to not let my opponent know there's nothing here. But the reality is, it's so easy to reinforce this, like just from over here. So if your opponent makes a push, you can react to it in time. And it would be a very bad play by your opponent to just push through here blindly, just because it sees the front line over here. So I'm not too concerned about that. Now, we are going to bring a machine gun in here. There's some nice line of sight, but always screw it up. This one is a good one. This one is better than it looks like. And then there's one more on the side here. Is this one? No. This one? One of them is better than it looks like, but I can't find it. I never can. And so we're just going to put a pentagram there. We're going to take it slow in the town. I don't want to overwhelm him right away, so we're going to take it a little bit slower. We're going to take a Stück and a Panzer full, so that means we have some leadership, and we do have a good Stücky boogie. We're going to go in defensive over there. Our main push is going to be in here. We're going to clear that, and then from there we're going to work our way over there. I think that's going to be the strategy here. So we're going to bring some horses with us. They are, I think, 78, right? 73 actually, so they're going to be slow. Well, this is going to be slower. They're going to be slower than these guys. This has the same speed than the regular forts. Yep. Yep. Alright, so we got the horses. We're going to send them over here at ranges where they can actually fight stuff. One of them can be like chilling over there. I think that should be a safe position as well. We could, since it doesn't have that many piers, we could have one here in case it tries to push deeper, and we can have it like in ambush position over here, in case the Staghound actually pushes through. So we have it here in a range where it can kill the Staghound, and then we can shift it over there if a push happens. I think that is not a bad idea. Next up, we're going to bring a leader coming in with the nice little 75mm, and we're going to put that here to the AA, specifically to buff up the AA, and then it can push forward as well. And we're going to get some more infantry, regular infantry. Maybe we are a little bit light on actual proper infantry now. We definitely are. Where did I go overboard? Probably in many ways, didn't I? Why did I buy that? It's so expensive. I feel like I have not that many. Well, I got 2 tanks. I guess that's it. We take 1 horse less, and that is going to give us another one of these, which can also like follow up in here, I reckon. And we have some infantry, some light armor there, so we have plenty of things. And do we need more recon? Over here we have something. Over here is actually not that bad of an idea to have some recon as well. So let me get this in here as well. Ready. Good luck. Have fun. So my main concern here is basically getting air spammed, because this is something that CL can do quite well. And the Shermans in the town are going to be quite dangerous, and especially the Stewards, because again, I do not have many tools that can deal with light armor efficiently. The 20 mils can only do it if they're close enough. And in this town in particular, that's not that easy. Like there's towns where this is possible. This one is not one of them. You have quite a few like 500 meter range areas, and the 500 meter the Steward is usually going to win. So that is, I think, a bit of a concern. And then, of course, CQC. So this flank here is especially dangerous, and I'm willing to just give that up if it's going to be too hot. This one I'm more willing to fight over because I can, you know, dig in here and have a little bit of range. And whilst infantry is good, it doesn't have a lot of AT, so I can actually bring in these guys, and they can help me out there a little bit. So the plan is to first push a town, or, you know, get into good positions and then slowly advance. And once we got this, we're going to go for that. And this flank, again, if we realize we can actually fight over it, we're going to do that. If it's going to be tricky, I'm willing to just give that up, lose these 3 flags. Put, you know, some defenses like over here so they just can't advance further, because what I don't want to happen is having the whole hill. This is something you never want to happen. Have your opponent do, because then he can really fuck you up on the rest of the map. Unless you take all of this, of course. Because then you can sacrifice all of this and just fight sideways, kind of. See, it was a good call not to have this there. Okay. Gonna shift over there. We need to run. Oh. Early. Is he? No, he's actually using proper artillery. Not something we see every day. Let's shift over there. Now our armor support is arriving. It took that. Okay, this is now a range where we can actually fight with the Hoosh, so I don't mind engaging that second, especially if this is working on it already. Cover difference here is good for me. I don't mind taking that fight. Stakana can actually pen this, so we have to be a little bit careful here. Okay, smoke's actually good for me because I can safely cross here. Alright, let's reinforce this with some Panzergrens. And bring some more AT tools in. So early artillery, for anyone watching, is usually not a good idea. Oh, this is not a good fight. We're gonna get 2 of those in. They should very efficiently deal with Shermans. Para d'assalto, we're not gonna win that, so we're gonna have to hold back here a little bit. I'm actually gonna turn this on return fire. I'm gonna try to spot things here a little bit. This can be my bait. At the moment, things are quiet. I'm gonna shift this over here. And I think we're gonna get some early artillery going since he is doing the same thing. Can generate us a lot of value in the long run. We're also gonna need a little bit more infantry over here. Fight at the... Oh, there we go. Pia team coming in. This is exactly why we decided to have these guys in. See, it died. But nothing of importance died. Alright, so he's using his artillery after that. I don't mind that. Attack guns are quite slow, but, you know, they're going to be quite useful once they arrive. Flame over here. Almost gonna kill, eventually gonna kill that off. And I think we're gonna bring another Hoosh in here. Sherman versus Stück at this range, I don't mind that all that much. Still got a pen. Let's call this back. He might smoke this to engage with a Pia team later on. Okay, so at the moment it looks like there's not all that much resistance over here, so I don't mind slowly building up an attack force over there. Now there is. Oh, there's a Blindata over there. This thing has HE. You can actually bring in a Stuka afterwards. Or we test this out. Let's just see how well it does. It's a 2-inch carrier. Interesting. This is actually where the Venatori Motto would be better, but I don't. Wanted to do a mechanized push, and I'll realize that maybe it's not that good of a call. Slowly gonna push this forward and see what we can do with it. Oh, the Blindata's revealed again. Let's strafe it. Let's see how well this does. We need to realign here so that we don't run into the Sherman. Alright, bring a leader here as well, and then an actual tank. Esploratori are here. This thing is uncontested at the moment. Well, he has weak AA, and he doesn't have that much of it to begin with. Let's see what we have here. Oh no, the TACCOM is missing. It's missing again. You gotta be kidding me. It died. And it bounces. Jesus. You know, you're supposed to have a good pen. There we go. There we go. Now we can advance with him. Crew killed. Seriously? What am I paying you for? There we go. Alright, let's push this. You can move in there. Oh, now there's AA. Now we're gonna fall it back. Oh, there's another thing over there. And maybe you should follow up with that. Right, that would be the good idea. Right, let's see. Oh, part of the Salto coming in. Yeah, the CQC is an issue over there. He's making me work hard, so I don't mind bringing in the air spam now. Okay, so this is something we can easily target. If he's using them up close for infantry support, he's asking for losing them. He's using smoke here, okay. We need to retreat from that. There could be Piats in there. No, we already have this over there. Let's get another one of these. Single 20 mils can't really do much. Oh, we forgot we have the mortar. Alright, we just start blasting whatever is over there. Let's wait for the infantry to follow up. Same thing over here. If the infantry is not spotting for us, this is very dangerous. Obviously. Okay, so nothing's over there. I don't mind actually. I think I have one more of these, so this should be safe. Obviously, if you have something fast coming there, it's going to be tricky, but... We need these to go. I shouldn't have wasted these in the town. And I realize. He could hurt me really badly here. Right, let's bring this over here and then we go cross country. I think it's also a good idea to bring one of these in now. I think in here it was, so I'm just gonna strafe that to death. Right, let's move him forward. Bring Attackam in position. Let's bring the Stummel in position. Let's bring the Panzer run over here. Okay, should be safe from Piats. Alright, let's bring the AA over here as well. Let's fool these guys back. Oh, we might as well just go after it now. And use these. But that. Probably gonna die, but I want to see what's there. What? Hold on. Oh, he got another bailed out here. Jeez. Okay. Actually, just move here and then slowly turn. This is my main concern. Oh, it's fixing that, so we can't do that now. It's baiting over the A, but his AA is crap, so I don't mind that. I might actually not catch it. How fast is this? It's gonna take ages. I might be able to, but not gonna be easy. I've never really done it that way, but might as well. No, I wanted you to go back, but now it's a bit too late. Well, it is what it is. Let's get another leader there. Not sure what he's trying. Well, another force back. Alrighty tidy. So, when he's set, it's likely going to be a stomp. I expected there to be a real big skill difference, but he's definitely better than I would have thought. Let's see if we can actually... This is a very stupid and ballsy idea, but let's see if we can actually pull it off. Use this here at the right ranges. Get some of these Panzergrens in here. Some of these died already. This is really annoying. Okay, just move, just move, just move. Ignore that Sherman, please. Alright, so in order to deal with that... What we're gonna do... Okay, this cut, there can't be that much over here. He had a good amount of units in here, he had some over here. This should be weak. With two of those, I should be able to take that out. Flamers have arrived. Oh, he's not actually pushing in here. I expected there to be some CQC in here, which there isn't. So it is a bit of a problem. Oh, I see. Yeah, I can sandwich that. That is a good fight. Oh, he killed this as well. Jesus. How much luck does he get with his Shermans? And why are mine basically useless? Like, this is freaking annoying. This is really annoying. Right, we need to clear out the infantry first. Obviously. Right, we see the Sherman. Sherman doesn't see us. One of them hits. That's a start. Oh, it's not what I wanted. Alright. Now, pull back here. I don't know if there's... Right, reinforcements are coming in. That isn't really what's costing me at the moment, having not taken that, Alright. Now, let's clear out this. And then we need to get CQC in here too, if we want to have a chance of taking that. There is some PR teams left. Alright, I should be able to overwhelm him there now. If I can fold the Mac, I do. Because this thing is... Oh, I forgot about the Piat. Oh, the Sturm is going to kill it now. Yep, it does. That's actually good for me. We're not going to get it, but it's alright. Can we, from over here, support that? Yes, we can. We should get that as soon as possible. We push in here, and we should get CQC for this now. Okay. I forgot, we do have Panzergranates coming in. We can actually secure this properly. Good. Alright, that's things happening over there. We're going to get another... We get Panzer IV over here, and then we're going to get a Stück for the flanking over here. I don't mind sending the leader here a little bit further forward, because it's acting as kind of a... I'm using it as sniper now. Never mind, I'm not using it as sniper. Oh. He lets me doing whatever I want with my AA, my Air Force so far. Okay, we're gonna save all of them up, and then we're gonna do big strikes at once. It's probably more useful than... Now over here is awfully quiet as well, so I might be able to push this further later on. Okay, half-track died. That's no biggie. This is specifically why I want to use this half-tracks, you know. Alright, now we're at the point where we need to buy artillery just to keep the mortars firing, which is bad, as we talked about. Now, these can win. Now, what we're also going to do is just going to, you know, test the waters a little bit, trying to see what's there. Over here, it looks like we can push in a little bit. Same for this. You should not have pushed. There's also enough ammo, that's why... Oh, the Sherman there's a nice, annoying position, but we can solve that issue. Ooh. Oh, he had recon in there. Crap. That's an expensive loss. It's a very expensive loss, actually. Alright, cleared it out. Let's see. Oh, it did die. Something is there. No? Something killed it. Piat in there, probably. I would think then. We can't push forward here because there's the obvious issue of the commandos here, which has a Piat. No, no, no. Oh, I forgot it would come from this side, so the Sherman's going to get a side shot. We're going to have to fix that. Alright. Let's just open up on whatever is dug in there, and then let's go resupply this. Our Sherman has already repositioned. That's a bit of a problem. We definitely need a Panzergun here now as well. But you shouldn't be there. You should go over there. Yeah, now I lost it. That is really bad. Like, that would not have needed to happen. And that is very poorly played on my part. Alright, so this should be safe now. If not, I'd rather waste this than the horse. So let's maybe put the horse over there. We do have a cluster plane now ready. We're just going to use both of them against those Shermans. Because this is not... This in combination with the Commandos, makes it very hard for me to actually deal with them. Because I don't have a... Oh, okay. So we have to get another artillery piece to resupply those stupid mortars. And that Stück can engage the Sherman from the right angle, which is what I'm mainly concerned about. Okay. Doesn't look too bad at the moment. Main issue is I don't have a lot of CQC, so that's the last unit. Right, Sherman's dealt with. Resupply happening. Whatever is in that forest patch, I want it gone. And I want this to follow up that. This CQC to clear that out. You should have been going forward. I was the wrong unit. They should be falling back. Alright. We're just gonna have these guys ready to strafe now. Vassatori, yeah, we can... Maybe we should shell those guys. Instead, alright, artillery can go over here. Then we can resupply the mortar here. Vassatori para, Commandosi. Let's strafe all of them. We can follow up with some of these guys. And... Streaky Boogie. Don't have that many of those. I forgot, I'm an idiot, we had these guys as well. And this thing could push up here. Something just died. Ah, this guy, yeah. That was to be expected. That's alright. Sacrifices must be made. Okay, I started to have a feeling that these guys are not very efficient, so maybe we're not going to take them anymore. Alright, and then from here we can find a way into there. Let's get another one of these in here, because sooner or later he's going to start air spamming this. Alright, ammo going up there. You can start shelling whatever is over there. Oh, you just ground attack this. And you can try to do a little sneak around maneuver. You clear this out, you follow up over here, you follow up over there. It's trying to... Okay, yeah. Spread out, spread out. Stop. You move. So you can kill one of them maximum. Let's see which one it's going to be. Neither of them. I'm alright with that. Oh, that's actually smoking quite a bit now. I might lose them now. That would be well deserved. Yeah. Because I have been... Oh, no. Forgot that I sent that far forward. Right, you can clear that out though. You can still win this. Over here with the right units. Yeah, it's gonna kill the BF1 now. 10 them, that's okay. I mean, I did misuse them quite heavily. I think if anything's in here still, it's gonna be at the edge of the forest, but not where it's actually super dangerous. We're just gonna spam our way in here. Should be able to win this, yeah. Syringe carrot, he's using a syringe mortar really well. Like, this is not beginner level mortar usage. It's actually very dangerous. I think the commandos is still right there. I did think that my... well, this can actually use it, win against it up close. Oh, there's another Guasatori Para. Okay. So... Change of plans, go defensively. We're not going to win this. Oh, it's not a 2-inch mortar, it's an 81mm. We're going to kill that off though, regardless. I think I've actually traded very poorly, so it's possible that I'm going to lose this now. This is where a mid-range AT gun would be quite useful now, if we had it. And I think we're going to get an SCF set in here. It's very likely that we're going to have to... Oh! That is very lucky. Chase, chase, chase. I want that kill. Would be huge. In the town, I think there's still some opportunities for us to be had. Still have an armor blob here, which I completely forgot about. Just need to find out where that Sherman is, or that AT gun that killed the previous ones. I think then we're good to go. Oh, we still have this one. And we can shift the Panzer IV over here. And attack him. Need to reinforce this with some proper infantry now. Can do some spam. He did not get the Sherman, which is a shame. I don't know where that thing went. Okay, we can still try to put some pressure on him there. Yeah, buying these might have been a bit of a waste of points. Oh, something killed the penny and I miss it once again. I'm so bad with this. I'm really horrible. I'm not paying attention at all. And I'm paying for it. Oh, there it is. An infantry unit, at least. Something's still in here, I reckon, because of how the front line is working. I got that. That's obviously not good. No! It's got it. Aw, that's a shame. Now, let's get that 59 back. And let's actually... Oh no, artillery is working. Can you actually win with the 2 snipers? Well, not against the commandos there. That's not gonna work. Well, we're locked in now, so I might as well just fight. At max range is still a good fight for me. If my Stug can hit something. Appears to be the big problem over here. Oh, all my armor died over here. Oh my. Let's get 2 Panzerforce in here. Let's try to hit this again. Baltimore is quite nice, and it's consistently getting the bombs off, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, I can still block it off over here. Let's push forward. I kind of forgot my whole advantage of having armor where he kind of... Oh, and I forgot that I have these guys, which would have been very useful earlier here. There's plenty of CKC now. Rositza for the win! But might as well use it for close range now. I got the 59 back, which is important, obviously. Let's get these guys in for some support, which we should have done way sooner. I just completely forgot that we had them. Okay, Stug did die, not Stug. Ooh, this one's doing nice support from over there. Love that. I think we're going to keep that Stug in defensive. Actually, over here is good because then he can outrange any potential threats that could be in that forest, like a T-guns or such. Oh, no. Definitely falling back from that one. Okay. For once we get the first shot and we get a pen, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. We need some wins here. Alright, we can now engage this. And actually get the win there. Can you please kill it? No. Not fast enough. That's a bit disappointing. At least we can't bring it anymore now. But this thing can at least put up a fight. Right, now we should be able to ram that Sherman here with the Stug if it decides to join the fight, and we can get our cheap infantry to seal the deal here. Okay, maybe we should really use this for up close. I was considering it, I was like, nah, now I'm back to fuck it, just do it. Never mind, it got hit before he could do anything. Our artillery should just... just do fire at will, honestly. It's gonna do something useful if it's fire at will. So this is one of my advices that I would give you guys. Whenever you don't know what to do with artillery, just use fire at will. It will do something. There's a decent chance it's gonna be useful. Right, kill off this thing and then you can move away. Alright. Oh, we could bring this one in and use our actual infantry units for pushing. Maybe over here we can do another push attempt. Doesn't look like there's an awful lot here really defending that. So we just need to get another flag. Okay, this one needs to fall back now. Clearly. Need to go engage that Wolverine. And I think it's time to go in defensive over here. We're gonna lose that flag sooner or later. I can actually repair that now. It would be quite useful. Let's get another flag here for the time being. And strafe this. Alright, you just do a little escape over there. Run, Forest, run. Okay, this thing has been spotted. Come on, Panzerful. You're aiming way too slow. Oh, this is not. Oh, this is a Crusader. Thank. Oh, that's good. Oh, now you realize that is actually going to be dangerous. What a shame. That's the CQC that we had. Well, it's still alive. Most likely not going to do much. You know. Let's get some more support tools in here. And hold it like that. We got the flag. Still holding up here. We still got that flag at the moment, so I can fool him back. You can also... Oh, you need to be resupplied, eh? Fire at will. Again, it's better to use this. The Morris can only really bring one unit, and it's going to be a 17 pounder, so we want to dodge that. No, not my one flamer. So cruel. GG. And well played. I mean, he did well. When he said it, that it's most likely going to be an easy win. It didn't say it like that, but it kind of sounded like that. I did expect a bigger skill difference than this. Not gonna lie. I mean, it still didn't get him off the... Well, no, he got me off the 59 for a brief moment, but not for long. But what I have to point out, though, here is that CAL, I mean, it's a good division, I think, for those kind of ranges. But it has plenty of issues and is not a balanced division. Like, he put himself at quite a bit of a disadvantage. Now, let's see if this actually works here. Oh, yes. It was already... Okay, it did already get hit once, so it didn't. That's why it didn't. Okay. Ah, we know. Now we know. Ooh, we actually got it. Okay, but these guys clearly not a good call. Like, they're not the real deal here. Right, I mean, in terms of traits, I still traded him. I just felt it was tough to push at time, but I guess he was quite weak in the town and I didn't sense it. I don't know. Sensing in town when an opponent is really weak, I have some issues with that, and we've clearly seen it here why. So, got some good engagements at the start. Obviously, some early crits were not in my favor, but later on, I think things went very well. Here, I actually got a moment of dominance. I think this is when I actually wanted to push quite a bit, and then I got held up by all of this, and I was quite surprised because I didn't really expect, to be to struggle that much, because I felt like it traded positively, and then this happened. Well, I didn't even realize I killed one of them with the Famo. Good job, Famo. These things did do some good work. So it just continued all around. He had some patches of coming back, but I mean, he did a good effort. Like there's some odd gameplay, some odd deck building choices for sure. Like taking these when you have the Esplorante, because he could have had more AT, and some of it could have actually screwed me over quite big time. So like, there's no need to take this, but you know, that's me. The Strummel actually did very well. Those things are super well. I just don't use them very well. I hate playing tank. Hate is the wrong word. I would love to be good with them, but I just suck at controlling my armor, as I think you could all witness in this game once again. Stug versus Sturm, though, did feel quite well, as nice as always. If you're pre-aligned, that's a big issue with the Stug, of course. That is quite a nice win. Take those. The Rashidza killing that Sherman, that was something else. That was so... I did not expect that. I brought the Rashidza and I was like, oh, this is such a big brain play. And then it achieved basically nothing. It was just sitting there. I was like, no, I can't bring this up close. And then the Sherman drove up close and it just killed it right away. I was quite happy about that. Hey, look at that. A BF1 decided to kill something, actually. This thing is useless. We're not going to take that again. On his side, Fucilero Ben did a very good job at holding me off. This thing is quite deadly. One Sherman here. Look at that thing go. He killed the Stug, he killed the Panzer IV, he killed the Takam, he killed the Stummel, he killed everything really here. There's nothing it didn't kill. Yeah, that thing really performed very well. This Sherman 2, by the way. Wolverine here, not all that much. He killed the Panzer IV, but I think that was in the town. Well, it still did well, but I think just all the units that were quite low in the end. So yeah. I mean, this game, I think it showcased nicely some of the strengths and the weaknesses of this division. As we could see very nicely, like at the mid ranges, it just, against a division that is good at those ranges, it just doesn't have enough of the efficient tools for that. Well, it has tools for it. It's just, and like the CQC things, right? You have very limited amount of CQC, so you really have to make that count, which I think we've seen it very poorly used here. So there's all these kind of things holding this division back a bit, but I don't want to go too much into that. Definitely, so in terms of the game like view, I think it definitely should have built up some more pressure in the town earlier. I needed to do a better job with bringing the right units for the right situation. Like when I got the right hand flank, I reinforced with the wrong kind of units. I wasn't really ready for his counter push at all, which definitely was quite devastating. I felt like the A would probably be good enough, but it wasn't. I think just buying the SKF Z7-1 would have been a better call. Because against those Baltimores, the SKF Z7-2 definitely didn't protect well enough, and I definitely felt that. And of course, you know, you can't really catch them with the BF1010s, which we noticed. So probably should have just used them better for actual strafing, and not try to do any of the other shenanigans that I was trying to do. But yeah, that's it. Let's go back to the deck. So let's briefly discuss the adjusted build and then my closing thoughts. So as I've noticed during the deployment already, not having fast light AT was just a true pain. If you had, you know, like a Pack 38, I really wouldn't mind not having this because you can set this up, but on the right-hand side, you clearly saw I was a little bit afraid of a stack hound potentially pushing there, because it would have definitely been realistic for him to just try and push there because it was fast and get into that one flag. Just counter my light deployment there very nicely. On the left-hand side, I was equally afraid of that, and basically tried to counter with an IGT, which can work, but it's not ideal, especially if more units are coming, or more than one stack count, because it realistically kills one and that's it. So this is a unit that is good at stopping one lonely light armor unit coming in, but it can't do more than that. Unless, you know, there's just other HE tools that don't have range, so if you unload them, the HE team will just hammer them without any opposition. So that means I really think this is good. You just want to have something with a good bit of pen and range in the right places early on, or you want to have the availability of this kind of tool sometimes. So I don't feel good not having it. I also don't feel good of having no actual AT guns, so I still want to take both Rashidas. Maybe it's a bad call. You know, it's expensive. This one is okay. But again, it's expensive, so maybe you want to change it, but I just can't imagine this diff without the two cards. And maybe, you know, maybe this is bad. Again, I'm not claiming to have all the answers here. maybe this is actually a bad build, and maybe you need to think completely different, a bit more outside of the box, and that's totally fine. So if you find a way, go ahead, but I feel like you want to have those. But that means I'm fairly comfortable with having this now because it has way more survivability. And I think that's way better. I did sacrifice the RT spotter for this. It was a nice tool, but ultimately the radio, for most cases, having the radio from the 81mm radio mortar is good enough, and you have your tanks too. So as much as it pains me, I don't take the RT spotter there. And then the last thing, second to last thing that I did was I did take out this thing right here. Having some of them for cheap with medium resilience and medium agility can be good in some divisions for air spamming, but you really have to commit, and you have to commit early on to this, and not with this unit. 220mm is just too weak. Even at 4, it would definitely be a good play, but with 2, I think it's just not worth it. It is too weak for a strafer, and so I just wouldn't take this. Simple as that. It's not worth it, and I think the AA is good enough that I feel somewhat comfortable without a fighter. I still like having it, but I feel like having an actual recon plane is probably more useful most of the time, especially with few cluster planes, because I had to do some blind bombings. I watched a replay because I discussed the game with my opponent afterwards, and some of the blind ones were actually pretty decent, where I just ground attacked, but not all of them. So yeah, recon plane, going with it, I think is generally very useful. But again, if you want to have a fighter, go with this one. If I want to take any other plane, really, I would take this one. So that's that. And the last thing I did is I did decide to take this with regular transport again. It's our only CQC in B phase. We don't have an awful lot in A phase anyway. So yeah, this being fast, I think, is important. The half track is nice. Like, it allowed me to move as close in as I could on the left in that game. I wouldn't have been going that close if it wasn't for the half tracks. So that is a nice bonus. But overall, I think you can allow a little bit further away and just use the flames, or you can, bring some other units up close to support. You don't necessarily have to drive that close. So I think it's okay having this not in the half track and having him a little bit faster when it really matters. So that is the build. My opinion hasn't really changed, really. This division, again, it has a bit of everything, and that can sometimes be quite nice. It definitely, with the cheaper Panzer IV now, and the cheaper Stug, and some cost-efficient infantry, the nice support half-track, which I think also got cheaper, by the way, in some of the latest patches, and then, of course, some, efficient AA, some 20mm cars. It has, it has a nice combined arms mix. It's just not quite efficient enough, especially 20mm are definitely not as good as they once were, or at least they're just not that powerful in general. They can shred infantry, but that's about it. So you have to be very careful with them. And again, I think this division, despite everything being, or a lot of things being somewhat cheap, it just lacks a little bit in efficiency in that crucial mid to close range tank fights. And for the mid-range maps, it's a bit lacking overall. I think it's definitely better for maps where on maps where you have a bit of range too. Not that much that a Panther would immediately ruin your game, but one where your sheets at least can shine a little bit. And with Fish 242, you have some tools to fight as well, and maybe actually get a little bit of an edge. This is also where Panzer IVs tend to do a little bit better. So those kind of maps, I think, might actually be a little bit better. But overall, again, it kind of lacks a really good strength in one particular map. I would still argue that mid-range is where this shines. You don't want to have close ranges, you want to have long ranges. Mid-ranges is where it's at, because the mix that it has is best for that, but it's still not super powerful there. If it had some more of these, or some martyrs or something like that, and some medium-sized ATK, I think it would be quite a bit better. Or if it had some other light armor that is not 20mm, I think this would also immediately get quite a bit stronger. Alternatively, a bit of a better Air Force would also be an option that would, I think, benefit this division quite a bit. These are decent now, and they're not bad now with medium resilience. It's still not top, and these are useful, but they have the limitations too. So you really just lack strong really dominant tools in this division, in the air force, that, you know, can sometimes compensate some of the weaknesses. In this case, I don't think it can. So that this is where I think this division is at. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and for, as always, those who have stayed to the end, right here is the tier list. We're currently doing C and C plus divisions. So for those of you who have stayed till the end, you can now choose which division is going to be played next. Just, you know, write it in the comments. Most suggested or most upvoted division. I count both together, basically. Division wins and will be played next. C and C plus tier. It is. So thanks for watching. Have a great day, and see you all in the next one.